Hello, Coolman229 here, another Topic of the Week video. This week I decided to get back to doing Legend of Korra topics because I haven't done one of those in a while. This week's topic is going to be about Kuvira. This week's topic was submitted by YouTube user Deery EYB, and their topic is: can you please discuss Kuvira? I really like her character and I feel like a lot of people don't. Can you talk about her backstory, her connection to Korra, her more or less love to Batar, and discuss if she is really evil or not? Alright, dearie, the problem with Kuvira is basically a similar problem to the one that Amon had, in that Kuvira is a really cool idea for a villain, mishandled by Brike's crappy writing. I love the idea that there was an Earth Kingdom general who had grown disillusioned and had basically become radicalized and violent, and had started feeling like, you know, she had to go to extremes in order to preserve peace. I like that idea. It's a cool idea. Kuvira's got a nice design. And frankly, I think that everything started out in Book 4 pretty good for her. I remember when Book 4 started, I wasn't watching it because, you know, I had an aneurysm trying to watch Book 3 because that was such a crappy season. I mean, all the seasons are crappy, but season 3, you know, Book 3 was particularly bad. But, I remember everyone was talking about Kuvira, about how she was so cool, and everyone was like, oh, having such high hopes for her, and I was just sitting there, I'm like, you poor souls, this is exactly what we said about Amon, and I called it. I called it. Kuvira was ruined. Why? Because Bright can't write. Now, talking about her love of Batar, I never really watched Book 4. I always kept up with it, and I was reading episode, summaries when people were coming out with them, but her love of Batar Jr., I think, yeah, loved him enough to fire on him. You see, the thing with Brike is that they can't write a villain if they're not pure evil. And even when they come up with really great morally gray ideas, like Amon was a great idea. I had a whole topic video all about Amon. And one of the things about Amon is that he's a very morally gray villain, but they had to turn him into a complete black and white, make it black and white, so that Korra could punch the problem away. Korra did not have any chance to actually deal with these issues that were brought up, because the narrative isn't allowed to go that direction. Like, okay, so with Amon, you have a guy who was going by the actual story of Amon, he was attacked and as a non-bender, and he was basically mad at the world, mad, just mad at the Avatar, and gained the ability to debend people, and created the Equalists to rise up against the oppression. The oppression that is very much real and that you see in the show. But ultimately, when you get to the last part of the Book 1, all that's tossed out completely. And they make Amon into a waterbender, which actually reinforces the point of benders being evil and manipulative, but whatever. Then you have his whole stupid backstory, and he's turned into a flat, boring villain. Why? Because Korra needed a flat, boring villain because she's not allowed to think. She's not allowed to grow. She's really not allowed to actually have proper development, and she can't be properly challenged by the villains. This always happens. Amon is the closest that she came to being challenged, truly challenged. Her arrogance was challenged. Her lack of spirituality was challenged. Her concept of tactics was challenged. Everything was challenged. Like, Amon was such a great foil, and it was tossed out because Bright didn't want to write anything complex because they can't. Kuvira was a similar way, because when you really think about it, the Earth Kingdom as we see it is honestly full of nepotism. You know, the fact that you have Wu, who is pathetic and stupid and worthless, and they fight to put him on the throne even though he really, really doesn't deserve it. Why is Kuvira evil? I mean, I personally, if you ask me, I know what you're asking, is Kuvira evil? Well, it depends on which version of Kuvira you're asking about. What she could have been when she was introduced, or what she ended up becoming. She became evil with her giant, stupid Godzilla mech, with her stupid laser cannon. And then you have original Kuvira, who genuinely wanted peace, but was taking, well, kind of fascist ways of doing it by basically, trying to take control. But the problem here is that you can actually sympathize with Kuvira. It's really easy, particularly when our main characters are so unlikable. So when she says she's trying to unite everyone, yeah, I do. But you're not supposed to like her. She must be the villain. She must be a flat villain. So they introduced those I think they were like concentration camps or something. And then they make her evil. They make her fire on Batar. You know, they try to do things in order to make you not sympathize with her at all. Simply because you're not supposed to. Even though I would rather have Kuvira than Wu as a leader. But they must hold the monarchy, I guess? With a... their backstory, it's funny with their backstory. I know everyone always talked about this. Alright, Suyin, one of the worst characters in the entire show. Period. I hate Suyin, and I hate everything about her. Everything connected to her, worthless. She basically ruins Lin's story even more than Book 2 did. And Book 2 turned her into this crazy loon ex-girlfriend who gleefully admitted to destroying Air Temple Island when Tenzin broke up with her, and that's not Lin. But then you have Suyin, her borderline evil, selfish sister, who somehow, despite being an absolutely terrible human being, gets all the favor, ends up running a freaking city, and So it said that Suyin basically raised Kuvira. Alright, so that's interesting. I guess, that could actually be a nice moment for Suyin. Nah, she tries to kill her. Just assassinate Kuvira. No big deal, especially when Suyin screws everything up. When Korra might have actually made a right choice for once in her life. And just screw it up. Her backstory doesn't even mean anything. Her backstory is just there to exist as a backstory. And it's like you can't really take anything in this show seriously. I mean, I past episode 4 of Book 1, I can't take anything seriously. And even, there are some good moments past that, especially in Book 1. Episode 7 is pretty darn good. But the show overall makes it all worthless. I like the idea of Kuvira, and I really think what they should have done... they really should have developed her as a sympathetic, morally gray villain. Or even in some cases, maybe an anti-villain. Because, so here's how I would have handled this. If I had Kuvira's character, and I had that same basic concept, and I had to do four seasons for Legend of Korra, of a different continuous story, what I would do is I would introduce Kuvira in Book 2, after he had to pick up a new season, after he had to pick up, 3 new seasons. I would have Kuvira be introduced in Book 2 as very good. And then say in Book 3 something tragic happens to her partway through. Like she loses her whole family, or her entire city that she grew up in is destroyed, or something along those lines. And she loses it. And then in Book 4 she becomes a villain, thinking that she has to take control in order for there to be peace. And you could ultimately feel sympathy for her because she has good reasons for what she's doing, and you don't have her do evil things, just have her take control, and so you could kind of sympathize with her, but she's doing things in the wrong way. she's doing, bad things for good reasons, there's still bad things. And that's really where the conflict with Korra should come in. Is that she would say that, yeah, maybe you guys were wrong to instantly try to kill her, or something along those lines. Or try to fight her. Maybe she does have a point, but, what she's doing here is wrong, so she has to stop Kuvira, but she also has to basically go, we all need to work together, instead of casting her as a villain, and then her last minute sympathetic backstory. And just crying. I never watched that finale because I was so done with Legend of Korra by the time that came out. I was numb. But it just, and I would like to see a character like Kuvira redeemed. And shoot, even going with the base idea of Amon, I would have liked to have seen that idea of him redeemed. The problem is that Bright can't write. I love the idea of Kuvira. And in fact, I would actually, I've said this before, I don't know if I've said this in a video, that if I had to keep the villain, out of all the villains that were in Legend of Korra, if I was adapting it, I would keep Amon and I would keep Kuvira. They're the two most interesting villain ideas that they came up with. That were both totally wasted, but but like Unalaq, worthless. The Red Lotus, totally worthless. I had my own ideas for other villains. But Kuvira, it pains me. It pains me that Bright can come up with cool ideas, but they can't write them. I don't really know much about her connection to Korra. I really am going to be honest. I don't remember reading about anything about a real connection to Korra other than the fact that they fought. And I think, Korra used Talk no Jutsu on her in the finale, in the end of the season. So I really don't have anything to say about that. I mean, really, this is a complicated topic to really talk about with exactly what you wanted, because I honestly, if you ask me, I don't believe Kuvira was truly evil until they made her evil. I remember everyone, a couple episodes into book 4, a couple, 3, 4, as the episodes were coming out, I know a lot of people were like, please don't make her completely evil. Please don't make her completely evil. I like Kuvira's character. And, I can see why a lot of people like Kuvira's character. I like her character. I don't like how she was written, which is the same thing for Amon and Korra. A lot of the characters, I like the ideas. I don't like how they were written. Shoot, Mako, Asami, Bolin, Tenzin, Pema, all these characters are great in concept, and even a lot of them started out great, but then Bright can't write. Those are the arc words of today. Bright can't write. And it's so crappy because there's so much more that they can do with this story, and it blows my mind as a writer myself that they, as writers who've been doing this for years, they're professionals, they get paid for this. They couldn't come up with anything for this. You guys did all the hard work of coming up with all these ideas. Put them into the story. Develop the story. You can develop Kuvira as a villain. You can develop her as a morally gray villain. Or an anti-villain. Someone who is honestly not bad, but is doing bad things and has to be stopped. I mean, that is a concept that I think kind of gets forgotten. You can have people who are sympathetic, but do bad things and must be stopped. It's not that hard. It really isn't that hard. Sure, the act of, the actual legwork of writing is difficult, and making sure everything makes sense, everything's tight, it's sensible, there's a nice progression, pacing, all that stuff. Yeah, that's hard. That takes work. But when you already have all this done, you already have an entire animation studio behind you, doing whatever you tell them to do, there's so much you can do with this. There's so much you can do with a character like Kuvira. And it angers me because you can talk to pretty much any fan and just give an idea of what would you do with Kuvira, and it'll be better than what they ended up doing. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm not being paid to come up with these ideas. I could write a better storyline for Kuvira. I came up with just a few basic concepts that are better than what happened to Kuvira. For free. I came up with a lot of this stuff in just a few minutes. Some of it's off the top of my head. You guys are professionals, Bryke. Be professionals. Don't put out this lazy writing. And yes, Kuvira ended up becoming evil because she had to be evil. Because Bryke had to make her evil in order to fulfill their own twisted ideas. That Korra can't actually... Korra's a Mary Sue. She really is. Her suffering is all worthless. Even being... She's wheelchair bound. Poisoned. Ends up being fixed like that. Overall, has no real effect on her. Sure, a little bit. She gets over it. But... Kuvira could have been an interesting take on Korra. For Korra, who supports essentially the establishment, who is basically anti, anyone who's against the establishment, having someone like Kuvira, who would be the establishment, would be the man, the government, someone that she has blindly supported in the past, is actually bad. That should cause Korra to rethink how she views things, and frankly, the equalist should have caused her to rethink how she views things. That these people who are doing bad things have good reasons for them, and maybe instead of just throwing them all in jail and calling them evil, maybe we should actually get to the bottom of this. That's what you do with a good story, but Legend of Korra is not a good story. It really never has been. So, yeah, I mean, that's the problem. There's so many problems with Kuvira. And they can all be like summed up with, down to the core point that she was not allowed to be the intriguing villain that she could be. Because Bryke can't write. Arc words. And honestly, considering the fact that we never really got to see much in the way of military characters, even when Iroh 2 comes in, we never really get to see much of military, and we really never get to see much of the Earth Kingdom. So having, Kuvira, military from the Earth Kingdom, could be interesting. A fight with the monarchy over, a power vacuum? Sign me up. In fact, give Kuvira other enemies. Have there be other people who are trying to take control. Have other people, aside from Wu, to be trying to vie for the power. I mean, you have this time skip. There should be other people. Like, really, develop that. Develop this big power struggle. That even Kuvira is fighting these other people to try to take control. You could easily fill a season with that, and Korra trying to deal with this, and maybe even having to negotiate, using negotiation skills that she should have learned before, to get these people to unite them against Kuvira, to say that, hey, you're all fighting on your own, we need to fight together against Kuvira and her military. I mean, shoot, why don't we even really delve into the idea that there would be loyalists to the throne, or that would side with Wu no matter what, or maybe people who don't believe in Kuvira at all, and you actually have this civil war going on, a real actual civil war, not like the Water Tribe civil war, and you have Korra in the middle of this civil war trying to bring balance into this. All the while, Kuvira is trying to take over and rule everything with an iron fist, but also not being evil at all. She's doing bad things, but she's not just like slaughtering people or putting them in concentration camps or building giant death robots. Maybe she's legitimately helping. Maybe there's a middle ground that Korra discovers that, sure, yes, Kuvira, what you're doing, you have good ideas, but we need to tone it down a bit, and we need to all work together in order to come out with the best options. That's something Aang would have done. It's not something Korra would do. And it's disappointing because so many good ideas in Legend of Korra wasted. I think that's it. I think that's about it for this topic, because I just get so tired thinking about all the wasted potential of Legend of Korra. I keep making these videos because I actually like talking about this and talking about what went wrong. Well, if you want to submit a topic, you can either comment below if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Tumblr, you can send me ask new topic colon and whatever topic you want me to talk about. Just make sure to follow the rules that I'll be posting down below. If you want to watch last week's topic video, you can check that out here. If you want to watch next week's topic video, you can check that out here when I get that done. And thank you for watching.